I'm French! Why do you think I have this outrageous accent, you silly king? What are you doing in England? Mind your own business!
Bonjour. This is Le Pen, who's run for president multiple times, who was found guilty in a French court in Paris, and she was found guilty of embezzling European funds, and so she received a 4-year prison sentence.
It's a little bit of a gray area, and everybody does it. Every party does it. Every country does it, and part of the European Union. And and that's the question of it. So it is technically illegal, but is it really illegal if no one ever gets charged? Except in this specific instance, when you have a what they call far right, I would consider populist right candidate that has a massive rise and is eventually going to replace the current president and the current establishment, and the party even replace the left-leaning establishment they have in France. And then it's like the last dying screeches of the establishment to say, well, we are going to jail and ban these people before they can replace us. And that's kind of really what it looks like.
Yeah, something that it reminded me of was just the idea of what Trump went through during his last campaign, and that was, she used the same, term. Essentially, she said the election was stolen, was one of her, she said it was a democratic scandal, a real shame, staining our country. And then she said the election was stolen. And then when Trump heard about it, he is on record saying she was banned from running for 5 years and she's the leading candidate. And he says, that sounds like this country. That sounds a lot like what happened in this country. Yeah. That was his response.
Yeah. And
I'm curious that was specific on the banning from running for president.
Well, that was interesting. I also saw an interview with one of her supporters, and their response was, this conviction, this is what they said, the quote, "This conviction is particularly unfair because it specifically targets her because of the 2027 presidential election." And then they went on to say, and the presiding judge made that clear. So even in the language that they used, it was clear that they were targeting her, and her ability to run.
And that's why I talked about the fact that these things all happened before she ever made it to a second round. And then now they are bringing this up after she has literally doubled every time she ran. She's doubled in popularity and in vote, and now coming up, and Macron's not a popular
somebody's
guy.
Scared.
And so now they pull this out, and like Reese, I'm glad you pointed out, like, this is kind of like what everybody does. It basically shouldn't really be illegal because everybody's doing it, and so it's not. And so, like, even
if it needs to be illegal, it needs to be the same across the board.
There needs to be reform.
If there needs to be reform, then great, let there be reform. But
across the board,
and I'm not
every party in Europe needs to get convicted of this.
And that needs to be equal application, equal application of justice. And I like what the Italian deputy prime minister said, Matteo Salvini. He said on X, he said, this is about the conviction. He said, this is a declaration of war by Brussels. Those who fear the judgment of the voters often find reassurance in the judgment of the courts. And I think that's a powerful quote. And I think it's exactly,
if you're enjoying this conversation, you can get access to the exclusive full-length version on filibustedshow.locals.com. There's a link below. And if you're enjoying this content, don't forget to subscribe.